All right, well, back on site at one of my favorite places to work. I've been, I think this is probably the third big project we're doing here. We're back at a familiar place where we did the pond extension last year. I'm gonna move this way. This time we're gonna be doing some clearing with some trees here. We're gonna be doing that. I did some aerial prior to start just so we can get an idea on kind of what's gonna change. And then we're gonna do some grading. Got the dozer, the big excavator, skid steer, little excavator. We're gonna be clearing out this section here, at least half of it, and then we're gonna be going back to the bank barn, or the area that one of the videos I had put creating a bowl. And so we're at that location. So the barn is gone, and the bowl's still here. So what we're actually gonna be doing is draining that pond tomorrow. It's not really a pond. It was supposed to be just a clearing area that kind of shaped itself to a pond. And so it's got water, but it's probably only about a foot deep. And so customer wants to dig it out, and she really wants to put in like a trout pond. So we're gonna use the bank barn dirt, get rid of the rocks, obviously. There's good clay down in here, and so we're gonna dig this out. Obviously we wanna get the water out and kind of get a true reading on the level. We need to be about 12 to 14 foot deep, so we're gonna be working around the edge and cleaning that up, and then getting rid of all these rocks, all this junk, and kind of putting that. I think we might actually build a burrow holding area, because there is good clay in this area, so if we need more dirt to build up. But so the idea would be to dig out some of this, but also build up. There's another pond over here. They don't want to put them together just yet. They want to keep the ecosystem separate for now. Anyway, that's going to be it. We're going to do a bunch of clearing through here too. This section's all going to be gone. And then we've got a cleanup area over here. Some old barn. We're going to do some staging for the barn wood, and then just really just a lot of cleanup. And then pond and clearing. So the coolest thing probably will be the pond feature. We'll do that. Most of that will be done day 2 or day 3. No, I'm sorry. We're going to drain it tomorrow. We're going to let it set for about 5 days and let it dry out. No rain in the forecast. And then come back fresh on Monday. But we'll be getting into this bank barn, the concrete, and all that fun stuff, and get rid of it. I'm not sure what we're going to do with the concrete here. We've got a bunch of concrete. I don't think we're going to have to get into it. I think we're going to keep the pond out here. And so this is a nice flat area to work on. But anyway, I've been rambling enough. So we'll put on some time lapse for the day, but I will jump in here occasionally and try to do a good job of doing some of the video and what I'm doing. But mostly today is just clearing trees, and then we'll get on the dozer and do some grading out. I think Sean's gonna be doing some of the plucking of trees, and I'll start getting on the dozer a little bit later. So anyway, come along. Thought I'd bring you along here, at least for a little while, kind of on step 1, phase 1 here of the new project I just was kind of talking about. Sorry, I fixed my microphone. This is an old motocross track from years ago. New customer owns it now, and they're gonna take out some of these trees and banks. Like this is an old bank turn. And take that out and grade it down so it's easier to get in here. Sometimes this little machine or big machine it's kind of tougher to get some of these little trees out because they're so little. But it is more, a little more. Wow, it's really jumpy. I'm on an uneven surface. A little bit easier a little more, I think, productive to get it out with the big machine than the little machine. I'll put some piles here, and then I'll eventually just track that over to the wood line, which is what we're gonna do. Gotta get these roots out though, because we're gonna grade that down. Sometimes these little ones, like I said, I don't know. A lot of times I'll dig roots out and then push them over. So I don't know. These are more like bushes than trees. Kind of just get nasty and hung up on my lines, hydraulic lines. So I'm just gonna get these things out of my way for a minute, and then now I can kind of see. I'm pretty sure we're gonna run into a bee's nest. I don't know how we're not going to. With all these, the way the lay of the land is here, I'm pretty sure we're gonna run into something. So it's not a big project necessarily for the like clearing and stuff, but big enough, you know, with the pond project. So that's kind of a cool one. So we'll get this done, and then we'll get on the dozer here in a little bit and get this pile knocked down. Sean's actually gonna run through, there's this little wooded area. They want to do some selective pear tree removal, and this machine is just too big. It'd be way too aggressive, and I'd take out way too much stuff. But figured I'd get started on this section. This is a good, easy section for me to do with the big machine. Sean's actually working with a new guy that we got trying out. He's learning how to run the skid steer. He didn't have any equipment experience, but he's a pretty hard worker. So we're gonna teach him a little bit about machines and greasing and running and all that kind of fun stuff. And it's a pretty good project. You know, harmless project, I guess. He can kind of learn how to run the skid steer a little bit and not really mess anything up. Be just moving a bunch of dirt here, and see what happens. You know, some people have mentioned to me just keep on doing work, and instead of the time lapse, I got a time lapse going, and I got to do a little bit of video. I just never know what to talk about, and then I start rambling. So I don't know, but yeah, a bunch of these little good-for-nothing trees. So. Had a time lapse going on the little clearing area for a while, but I'm pretty sure the battery ran out, so I'm not sure as I'm recording this what was actually on there, but did some ride along as well. We got the area over here cleared out for the most part. We've got some dozer work, of course, and grading to do tomorrow, and then we went through the trails. We put all the brush that went on the fence line over there. No, so far so good on that. We are gonna get this all cleaned up tomorrow, and then we've got a back section tomorrow as well. So we're doing a little bit of cleanup here. We'll eventually grade all this out real nice over here, and then over that way to make it nice and clean to match the grade of the driveway. We'll go from there. So back at it tomorrow. Thanks for coming along, and we'll get some video as we go, some time lapse and that kind of thing as we move to the back portion. And then we're also going to be doing draining the pond, the new trout pond tomorrow, so that should be interesting. We'll get you hooked up for that so you can join along for that as well. All right, good morning. We are back at it. We are slowly draining that little pond over there. I don't know what's up. We can't get a real good flow. I don't know. It's a 2-inch pump. I probably got an air leak somewhere is what I'm thinking, because it's just not quite sucking great. But I don't know. Just trying to get this thing cleaned out. It's gonna take a little while because it's not sucking that way. I had to dig a little bit of a hole in the bottom because it's only about a foot deep all the way through. So I think I'll let that run for a little while. We're moving some old barn wood that was over here. We're gonna move that over to that section, and then we're gonna start clearing out over there. Wow, the sky is really pretty. And then probably dig around. I think I'm gonna dig a burrow pit because we got a bunch of old, like just metal and concrete we're gonna bury. We could use that dirt for this pond, but here's kind of a look at the pond area. I'm gonna try to deepen it up and go on, and I'll put you guys on time lapse and we'll go from there. Just before lunch. I think the time lapse is actually still running, but we got the what will be a trout pond for the most part drained out. It's got the sludge on here. We've graded off some of this vegetation, cleaned it up a little bit, kind of got the bowl looking again. I'm getting ready to use the dozer to get rid of all this crap that's over here, these rocks. Sean's on the excavator, gonna clean up that area and thin it out. And then I'm gonna go do some dozer work. So I'm gonna bring you along in the dozer. I won't be doing any chatting though. You can't hear me in the dozer, it's so loud. So I'll go ahead and just throw you up there. You can kind of watch me do some dozer work for a little bit. I'm gonna grade this area out here, the pond, for a little bit, and then I'm actually gonna go up by the house and grade up there. So I'll bring you along. All right, end of day 2. I'm laughing because we got a massive pile of dirt and the enormous burrow hole pit down here. Don't look big from the video, but it's probably every bit of 15 feet. We've got an old shed to bury, and then this old concrete that we're gonna go ahead and get rid of. So far it's a pretty productive day. We got all of the trees gone back here, which you probably saw in the time lapse. Did some, been on the dozer for a while. We've been moving and cleaning off this bank barn, all the rock, and putting it back in the back there. We've got the pond drained, or I guess the bowl. It's not really a pond. We're gonna build a pond. This is all graded out. And then one of the other things we were working on was around the front of the building, this building. We were grading out that section, and we thinned out the trees over here. This is just rough graded. This isn't by no means finished. I gotta kind of figure out how this is all gonna match together once we get the pond dug, we get the bank barn dirt. You know, this has all gotta look nice and, you know, graded out. So I'm gonna leave this kind of rough graded because I don't know how the dirt's gonna play out yet, and I don't wanna push it off and then I'm out of dirt. So, we clean this up. This is again kind of roughly graded, but you couldn't really walk through here before without running into these invasive species, the pear tree, non-fruit bearing. Anyway, just coming around the front. It's kind of what we worked on yesterday. We had the big trees over here. It's kind of the clearing area that I think I showed you in the very beginning. And then this is rough graded as well. I gotta run the soil conditioner through here, and we gotta get some of these roots out. But this is just, again, rough graded, kind of getting it all, you know, ready to go. We'll get all that finished up next week. But all in all, pretty good. I'm gonna probably do this in a couple videos. So we'll finish this one up today with like a, you know, to be continued kind of deal. So we've got day 1, or I guess phase 1, kind of the clearing portion, and then pond prep and drain, burrow pit building, and then we'll come in. We're staying on this job, so we'll finish it up, but we're gonna be finishing up next week because Quarter Wars Congress in Ohio is here. So I'm going there tomorrow, spend some time with my daughters. We like freestyle reining, so we're gonna go check that out, and then we'll be back on Monday, let that pond kind of dry over the weekend, and then we will hit it hard next week and finish this thing up. All right, thanks for tuning in.